At this time, we'll call the February 21st, 2025 meeting of the Wilson County Planning Commission into order. Anyone wishing to give testimony before this board today, if you would please stand and raise your right hand. I hereby affirm the testimony I give today to be the whole truth, so help me God. Say I do. Thank you. We need to approve the minutes from the January 17th meeting. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Weathers to approve, second from Mr. Renfro. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion will carry. At this time, I'm going to open the floor for public comment. State law requires us to give you a chance to come visit with us and talk about anything. If there is something here that's on our agenda, we will deal with that on a case-by-case basis. This time it's for something that's not on the agenda. Do we have anyone wishing to speak with us? Yes, sir. Please come forward and state your name for the record.
Jason Flannery with the Boy Scouts out at Boxer Reservation,
Yes, sir.
building a pavilion, just trying to get it approved.
I think they are here to see if we can add them to our agenda,
They're
end of our
requesting to
agenda.
be added to the end of the agenda.
Okay.
So you'll either need, after the public comment period is finished, you'll need to make a motion either to add them to the agenda or make them go through the March meeting.
Okay, okay. We'll deal with that in just a second, sir. Thank you. Do we have anyone else? Okay, at this time, I'll close the public comments, and we will move into our agenda.
Make a motion to amend the agenda for Boy Scouts.
We have a motion from Mr. Ash to amend the agenda to allow, is that Boxwell? Yes, sir. Camp Boxwell to be added to the end of our agenda. Second. Have a second from Mr. Turner. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion will carry. We'll deal with you as quick as we can, sir. Okay. Christopher, you ready to move into new business, sir?
Yes, sir. All right, the first items on your agenda are a land use plan amendment and a rezoning of property. And for comment's sake, I have added these both into the same set of comments. So you will be one vote, you'll be voting on them both at the same time, because the comments don't change because I write my rezoning comments up prior to the land use amendment coming. So they're consolidated into one set of comments, and you'll have one vote that votes for a land use amendment and a rezoning change, a recommendation to the county commission.
Okay.
And this is how I've done it with the county commission, and I think it's kind of cut down on the confusion.
All right, thank you.
Application has been made by Dan Curry Surveying with permission from property owner Matt Bryson, doing business as Mappy Inc., requesting a land use plan amendment from low density to high density, low intensity commercial uses and a rezoning on the same property from A1 agricultural to C3 highway commercial. The property is located at 8695 Highway 109 North. The property contains approximately 1.22 acres and is further referenced as Wilson County Tax Map 13, Parcel 36. The Wilson County Growth Plan nor the Wilson County Land Use Plan calls for high-intensity commercial development in this location, and C3 highway commercial zoning is considered to be high-intensity commercial zone district by the county's zoning regulations. There is some direction for neighborhood-level commercial development, which was typically be represented by C1 neighborhood commercial zoning designation. However, portions of this Highway 109 corridor have already been zoned to a C3 highway commercial zoning designation, thus setting a precedent in the area for allowance of such commercial intensities by zoning. The county land use plan does anticipate increased levels of growth in the north central portion of the county to either side of Highway 109 due to relatively adequate levels of infrastructure, as well as market demand when compared to other areas in the county that are less suitable for development due to the geography, infrastructure, and market demand. The C3 highway commercial would be approved to potentially bring goods and services to a part of the county that currently lacks such commercial provisions with the expansion of Highway 109 north. We do not have direct land use direction in this portion of the county for C3 highway commercial, and with the existing C3 zoning already active within the corridor, staff can see a precedent to rezone to a different district, but with no direct land use direction, staff does not recommend approval. Finally, staff has made copies of the rezoning request available to emergency services. Staff will note that the proposed rezoning falls within the limits of the Legardo WEMO Station's 5-mile ISO response zone for fire and emergency service. The county engineer has has requested that the applicant, planning commission, and other interested parties be put on notice that the presence of sinkholes, caves, wetland streams, and land areas that are extremely flat, marshy, or steep may affect the development of this tract and total number of lots realized through the subdivision development. As an additional point of information, this request does appear to be in close or immediate proximity to at least 2 Century Farms, known as the Graves Wright Farm and the Burton Farm, based on information provided in the Wilson County Planning Department.
Okay. Christopher, tell us the differences in C1 and C3, if you don't mind. What's allowed?
C1 is a neighborhood commercial, which is more of a convenience market. It would be a smaller scale gas station or kind of like a strip mall retail that would have, similar to what, if you're all familiar with like Quality Corner down on Stewart's Ferry Pike in South Lake Juliet, a little strip retail center such as that. C3 allows commercial auto sales, farm implement sales, garden centers. It would allow restaurants. It actually allows hotels and motels if you get on the right corner.
But there's no manufacturing involved in any of that.
No manufacturing in C3. And this particular representative, he'll have to speak to this, but he's in discussions. He's doing farm implement sales, which is a use allowed in the C3 district, is what he's proposing.
Okay, thank you. Who do we have here to represent this case today, please? Please come forward and state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Dan Curry. I did the survey work for Mr. Bryson on his property, the boundary and topo work we did. I've got some renditions of a building that he is proposing to construct, and I can pass these copies out. Mr. Bryson is here to also provide some more details and some information about kind of his business and what he plans to do. In recollection, I'm not a geotech, but we did not find any sinkholes in the process of conducting the field work. I'm not going to say that doesn't mean there's anything there, but in the course of doing that work, there was nothing on the surface that we found. And as Mr. Chris has mentioned, we are looking to do the land use amendment. And if there's any technical questions about the survey, I'd be glad to do that. And then also let Matt have an opportunity to come up and speak to kind of more specifics about what he's planning to use and do for this property.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Bryson.
My name's Matt Bryson. I reside at 2607 Seaman Road, Lebanon, Tennessee. So this piece of property, I purchased it back last October or so. We currently have, I'm involved in several dealership businesses throughout Middle Tennessee, one in particular here in Lebanon. But we also have a location over in Gallatin. We've been in that location since about 2014. That business has been in business since about 2012. Christopher mentioned farm implement sales. Primarily what we do in the business over in Gallatin is outdoor power equipment. So we sell Exmark branded lawnmowers, Cub Cadet products, other neighborhood friendly type equipment that a lot of people in this area do utilize on a daily basis during the season. What we would like to do is move that business from Gallatin to Lebanon, and we've been looking for property in Lebanon for a long time. This piece came up available. Right down the street, if you go north towards Gallatin, there's already a section there that's C3. It's not shown on the map here. And so with Christopher, after a couple of meetings, we came up with maybe this would be the best zoning. So it's my understanding we have to amend the land use map, land use plan, I think, and then also request the rezone. So that's what I'm here for. I'll be glad to answer any questions that are in front of you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McFarland.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the Planning Commission, Jerry McFarland, Commissioner of the 5th District of Wilson County. I know the family and I know this property very well. It is in the 5th District, and I think this business would be an asset to the 5th District and to our community. And I sincerely ask that you, the Planning Commission, approve this request. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone else here wishing to speak on this case today? Christopher, will they have to go before BOZA and get a variance to be on septic? Or I don't think, there's no sewer, I don't think, out there.
They will have to receive a septic variance for a commercial zone property. That would be before the site plan approval, which a site plan will have to come back before you. They can do that in the same month, but they will have to receive a septic variance, yes, sir.
You've got your soils work done, Matt? Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions from our board?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jewell.
Proximity, north of 70, south of Lagarda, where is it along I-40?
Please, if you don't mind.
So the proximity of this property is, there's actually a church directly behind it. So from Lagardo, Academy Road, if you go north about 1.5 miles towards Gallatin, we're on the right. And like I said, there's already an industrial commercial building one parcel over. It used to be the old Floyd and Baxter facility. So I think Kenny Anderson resided there for a while.
It's about a quarter mile north of Northwest Williams Road.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Winfro?
Mr. Chairman, went out and looked at the property, of course, and Chris answered the questions yesterday, so we got some time savings there. Implement sales, I don't see it being a huge impact, but just north of it, we assumed that it was AM service, but there's an A1 property between the two. I don't guess anyone's here to represent that one, so the question then would be, if this is changed to C3 and he decides to sell, it stays with it. And the next question is for Chris. When is our land use plan offering to present to us as a board due? Within the year, half a year? Is it already in the works? Does it include this? Any
You're talking about the
recognitive idea?
Are you talking about the updated one?
The updated one, is this
Do you want to get into that now or at the end of the meeting?
just a general sense? A year from now? Half a year from now?
I would like it to be done this year. I'm going to update you on that with some workshops that are going to be going on with this board and the county commission at the end of the meeting. I can do that
I'm
now.
not sure just yet when it
but-
might be.
I have a rough draft timeline, yes, but it's I'd like to have it done this summer.
Would it be preemptive to ask, is this going to be included in that, or do we have an
The
idea?
entire county will be assessed, yes.
That's it, Mr. Chairman, thanks.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Ash.
so I think I'm right about it. Is this where Harold Gray's old tractor, not old, but his tractor implement company was, cattle trailers and all that?
Back this side of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have no idea.
Well, that kind of stuff's been down there for years.
It's filling in like crazy.
How long ago was that company there? Because that
30 years.
predates me.
I wished it predated me.
Yeah, I remember it too. So, do we have any? Go ahead, Mr. Jewell, I'm sorry.
This is one of these corridors that develop like I-40, 840. It's developing commercially and industrially faster than you can blink your eyes. And so it's common sense to put it in those areas and keep things a little organized. The road was redone. It's a perfect match.
Any other questions from our board? Do we have a motion?
Move to be approved.
A motion from Mr. Noakes to approve. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Jewell. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion will carry and now go to the county commission for their approval, sir. I assume next month, March.
It'll be it should meet the timeline for the March County Commission meeting, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. We're now ready for site plans and plats, Christopher.
Yes, sir. The first site plan on your all's agenda is a site plan for American Tower. It's a T-Mobile co-location on the Hunters Point site. It's for a cabinet installation at 198 Africa Road. With minor technical corrections, staff can recommend approval.
Do we have anyone here today to speak on this case?
I was notified by email that this applicant was not going to be here today. He's out of Chicago. I told him if there was any questions that could arise, it could be deferred, but we've typically not had issues with co-locations as this is not a new tower.
I do have one question.
Okay?
As I understand it, we can't tell these people no. Is that accurate?
It'd be difficult to. I mean, you can. It'd be up to Mike to defend that decision.
You're not willing to do that, probably.
I'll do whatever y'all tell me to do.
But you'd rather not do that.
The one time we did it several years ago, Mr. McFarland is familiar with that.
Slap
We
pretty
didn't
good.
fare so well.
Yes, sir. Okay.
To my knowledge,
Federal law control.
to my knowledge, the best defendable case for you all to tell them no is when a tower is over 199 feet in height, because that requires an FAA beacon, which you can classify as disturbance to natural way of life.
Okay.
The one time you could waive the beacon, because I have one in my front yard, but now you've got to have the beacon.
To my knowledge, yes, unless something's changed on them.
Okay.
If it's over 199 feet, they're required to have that.
The pressure to grant these is the same thing that pressured the railroads being built in the day, the interstates being built in the day. They are deemed as nationally, almost a national defense situation, those types of big projects, and they are difficult to deny.
No
As
doubt.
Mac McCluskey said, someday they'll be thick as thistles. He's right.
I thought satellites would take over and there wouldn't be as many towers.
In due time.
That's above my pay grade. We have any more questions from our board?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Mr. Turner to approve, a second from Mr. Thompson. All those,
Mr. Ash.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ash. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Mr. Renfro voting no. That motion will carry.
All right, the second one is a site plan again for American Tower, same developer. It's a T-Mobile co-location. It's known as the Bobo site. It's another cabinet installation for the T-Mobile co-location. This one is located at 4944 Trousdale Ferry Pike. With minor technical corrections, staff can recommend approval.
Do we have anyone here wishing to speak on this case today? Any questions from our board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll ask Chris, and there are already a couple of towers right there on this site?
There's there's only one tower on the site. There's a couple, I mean, AT&T and Verizon are already utilizing this tower, yes. Is that what you're asking?
Gotcha, all right.
Yeah, there's I think on this particular tower, AT&T and Verizon are already on it, and there's also some sort of radio rave antenna on it as well, and I couldn't tell you what that one's for.
Okay. Any further questions from our board?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The presentation of this request, does this federal government that's pushing this so hard give you data for transmission interference, RF transmissions, and interference to livestock and personnel that live near this?
On a co-location, no. Whenever we get a new tower location, we require overlap, interference information, and we also require them to do a sighting so you can see where the tower is going to be visible from throughout the county. On a brand new tower, on a tower that's already existing, I do not require that information. Because
There's no logarithmic chart given to you to show RF power at
not for
100 feet, 1,000 feet.
not for an existing tower. For new towers, we require that information to be kind of and it's a heat shock.
Existing.
Yeah. And it's not going to be the highest point on this tower. The other providers have already taken that premium spot.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions from our board? Do we have a motion? Motion. A motion for Mr. Ash to approve. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Thompson. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
That motion will carry with Mr. Renfro voting no.
All right, the third one is a site plan for Crown Castle USA. Again, it's T-Mobile, again, just a different company. This is known as the Watertown site. It is cabinet installation. It's located at 1688 Smith Hollow Road. I'm going to let you know I have been to this site in the past. I did not revisit it on this one because it's like 3 half-mile switchbacks up, and I wasn't making that walk again.
Okay.
An honest man.
I'd unlock the gate for you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay. Anyone here wishing to speak on this case today? Any further questions from our board? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Before you take the vote,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to show non-vote in the record for possible conflict of interest.
Fair enough. We have a motion from Ms. Weathers to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Turner. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. Mr. Renfro voting no. Mr. Jewell abstaining. That motion will carry. Okay, we're ready for the final for Dillon Point subdivisions, Phase 1 and 2.
Yes, this is a final plat approval for subdivision of phases 1 and 2. They brought these to you together. Located Old Hunters Point Pike with technical corrections, and the amenity plan will have to be finalized before the final plat can be signed. This plat will be unique at present unless something has worked out, but they will have to provide 2 signature blocks for the utility provider, one for the wastewater authority and one for the city of Lebanon, as the water service area is, I don't want to say split half and half, it's uniquely split on this development. So unless both of those either one of them deeds their water service area to the other one, there will be an extra certificate on this plat that will be required. As an additional point of information, and this is mostly just to keep everything easier to track with my office. The development was originally approved in May 20th of 2022, and that's just to let you all know, based off the state requirements for legacy rights for a development, they have 15 years for a multi-phase development to have their final plat recorded. This one is coming in for a renewal, or a final. The next one will be a renewal, but this one is coming in for a final, so they have technically, by state law, have till May 20th of 2037, but I'm just going to add the approval dates to these, as these developments, some of them tend to linger.
Okay, thank you. Who do we have here to represent this case today?
Subject to all engineering comments.
Yes. You want to speak on it, Ms. Bowman?
In the past, we've had extensive commentary for the constituents in this district. I'm Beth Bowman, 2055 Belotes Ferry Road, District 6 Commissioner. My comments today are really in reference to the road improvement part of this project that are required. There's an extensive road widening that is needed, which will require Cedar Grove Road to be shut down. So what's being distributed to you is the rerouting route that is going to have to be taken by the residents that live in this area. So Dillon Point is about 106 lots that's being developed. Sitting right in the center of this is Carroll Oakland Elementary School. You'll see a big pink arrow in the map there. That's really the point of my concern and the basis of my comments today. Amber Falls is a subdivision that's recently also been approved on Burford Road. That's 54 lots. And within proximity, just to give a little wider of a view, there's also been a development approved by the city of Lebanon for 100 homes right off of Highway 231 between Africa and Rutledge, and Misty Cove Estates, which is 55 lots. So about 300 new homes in this area within kind of a stone's throw. There is a one-lane bridge that all of these roads have to cross, which is kind of the crux of this detour route here. And on page 2, you can see a picture of this one-lane road. This road was built in 1927. It's had no rewidening. It's a satisfactory/fair condition, but overall, the ratings are about a 5 or 6 out of 9 for that road. Carroll Oakland Elementary transports kids down all of these roads. A bus is about an 8.5 feet to 9 feet wide, and with Amber Falls and Dillon Point going, we have a lot of dump trucks also that will be on this route. They're about 8.5 feet wide. The widths of these roads vary from about 20 to 28 feet, Burford Road being the best of the 3 roads that are there. And so really what I'm coming to request of you today is that the developer make a commitment to not close these roads while Wilson County schools are in session. Because of the safety of the bus route for Carroll Oakland and Lebanon High School students, I think it poses a significant safety concern with that detour route only being available on these small back roads. There's really no shoulders to these roads. They're quite windy. There's quite a few blind spots, and so my request really is in regards to the road improvement part of this, that the developer make a commitment to not not close these roads while the county schools are in session,
Thank you.
or only while they're inside of school hours.
Okay. Do we have anyone else here wishing to speak on this case today?
Good afternoon, or morning, actually. Matt Taylor of SEC. I represent the applicant on the project. We drew the plat. I've not seen the detour plan, but I'm happy to meet with Ms. Bowman and set up something with the contractor and my client to go over those concerns. I'm sure that we can regularly, we don't have work going on road closures like before 9 or after 3, things like that. So I'm sure we can work through those issues.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this case today? Do we have any questions from our board?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
Does the fact that they've applied, does that make the clock start ticking again on the 15-year?
No, that's from their original approval. From the way that I've interpreted this state law, from your initial approval, you have 15 years to get all final plats recorded. The clock does not start over because you come in for a renewal based off of our regs.
So what have they got left?
13 years and change, 12 and a half years, 12 and a half years.
This board heard so much about that bridge. I don't need a lecture on the bridge to being sheriff for 30 years. I know what the problem is out there. And there's no reason for the mines to get together and not widen the bridge or build one next to it. May just have to do some condemnation, there's been plenty of infrastructure money poured into these states in the last 3 or 4 years.
Right.
I don't know why it's not been applied here, but I'm concerned about building anything else, at least west.
West of the bridge? Okay.
That bridge needs widening.
Yeah. This development is not west of that bridge. Yeah.
I just know that the bridge needs widening there.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
in respect to my colleague, his thick as thistle comment is very poignant right here. It is absolutely true. And build at all costs, build, without thinking about this. 3 meetings ago, I think I tabled something that Chris said is not actually in legal stance yet, but why not require the builders that are building out in a peninsula that only has one way in a bridge like this, you got to clear this to the main road, to the main tributary. I don't know that that's something that we could require on this board, but every time we build these, and we've got these pockets of 100 homes, 200, 400 homes, and they got no way out because they're not required to build past what's in front of the subdivision. So where's the teeth for this? Where can this be developed where we say, yeah, but you got to take it all the way back to 109, or you got to take it to 231, or X, wherever that road is, to get people in and out of these high-density areas? You know, maybe I'm speaking to the wall here. I don't know, but this is the concern for me, just like my colleague, is you got this little bitty thin tributary, and the pressure increases. This is like a venturi in an automobile for pressurizing, you know, inlet, outlet for fuel. It's too much. So, just a comment.
All right, thank you, sir.
Is the bridge structural-wise capable of taking the weight that will be on it? I'm asking somebody to tell me. Or is the only concern the width? You know what I'm saying?
When you're talking, are you talking about like for construction traffic?
I'm talking about, pardon me, talking about her consideration of the times and staggering, and it's what I understand her to say. I may have misunderstood. You're not so concerned about the weight capabilities of the bridge as the mere ability to handle the sheer volume. Is that what I'm reading here?
Yes, that would be correct. Those of us who live in that area know to stop, flasher lights, courtesy, if you're not familiar with it, I mean, there's head-ons, there's dump trucks flip, there's the way, it's not a failing bridge. It is not classified as a failing bridge. Yes.
All right. The comments the gentleman made in reference to staggering the construction hours, would that be suitable to meet your concerns?
So long as, yes, the children, the bus route is my biggest concern, because people who are not familiar with that area that may be detoured to take those roads, if they do not know to stop at that bridge,
Okay.
those children are my number one concern right there. And there's 2 construction projects going on, just, I mean, neck and neck right there.
There's 2 problems. We're discussing the immediate problem.
Sure.
We've got a situation here where we've got a good bit of construction, some already in place that can't be stopped, and this one that wants to get started. The long term, clearly the issue is that bridge ought to be replaced, pure and simple. Do a bridge replacement, that would take, what would it take, a year to get that bridge online?
It'd take more than that.
So what I'm trying to say, if we want to allow the constructions that are already in place, how do you deny another when you've got it going? If a strict, stern staggering of the traffic and managing that bridge would get us past the construction of a new bridge. Now, I don't know, as you were saying, I don't know where our authority gets a bridge built.
And who would manage?
That's right.
Well, the road commission would manage
Managing
it.
group.
But I cannot see just starting to shut down construction of things because of that. Let's manage the bridge, and let's emphasize to the road commission or whatever powers it be, that bridge ought to be put at the top of the priority list. That's what I'm saying.
And the construction for this development is long already started. I mean, the detour routes that are up now are because of the public infrastructure improvements that are required because of this development, with improvements to Cedar Grove and Old Hunters Point Pike. The internal construction of this development, I don't think, is the issue. Now they're having to close half of the road at a time to do the required road commission infrastructure improvements that are required with this development. Now, as far as the bridge, that I understand the concern there, but that they're not closing the bridge, and I know Beth's concern is there's going to be new people on it because of these detour routes.
Mike?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, and I'll shut up. Go ahead.
I heard the gentleman when he said that he'd be willing to sit down with the commissioner and talk about these concerns. It's making me think we probably ought to wait and look at this a little bit later down the road. But as far as going to the road commission, and the mayor knows this, I've expressed my concern many times while I was the sheriff. I've expressed myself many times about this bridge. The old bridge is actually, you don't see it. It's over there a little bit in the high weeds, 1925 or 30. Then this one was built and been redone, but it's always kept one lane. I don't see why the powers to be can't consult with some landowners there to their benefit too, and to see about building one parallel to this bridge. Don't take this bridge down. Keep that road open. Don't have these routes, but build one parallel to it, because it was down for about 2 years one time when I was sheriff, when they was trying to widen the one-lane bridge, if you can believe that.
That's core property, too.
Yeah, it's all coordinated. That's why I say it needs a coordinated effort with who owns what, just to see if the possibility can really take place. But the road commission can't address it unless somebody comes to the road commission, I wouldn't think, and suggest that be done, and let them start their process in fairness to them. But
So if we approved this today, should the motion include some sort of language, and I don't know how to word this, that put teeth in requiring strict traffic management during the construction period to reflect Beth's concerns, and they're good concerns.
I mean, I think you can put a motion that these detour routes, there could be, and I think the applicant has already committed this, that no construction traffic on those detour routes before 9 a.m. or after. I mean, you can't close all hours of the afternoon, but from 3 to 5 during normal pickup hours, you could require, I mean, you could put that stipulation on it. I'm going to let you know that's going to be more of an honor system. It's going to be difficult to enforce, but I mean, as soon as somebody gets a complaint, I'm sure Beth will make us aware and we can have some sort of issue resolved at that point. But you can put no construction traffic on these detour routes during 7 to 9 and 3 to 5, or whatever you all see fit.
School probably lets out earlier than,
And they've somewhat committed to that in the pre-con that we've had for this development already, to work with school hours.
But the other folks are out there doing construction and building. We talking about they got to comply with the same.
Well, they should not be coming in Cedar Grove Road. That's not to say that they aren't, but they should not be.
That should be part of the policing then.
So should the motion read, we approve this development with the note that strict adherence be that no construction take place, or that it should follow school hours, it should honor school hours in order to facilitate traffic? Is that the way the
Construction traffic.
construction traffic, is that the way that should read?
I don't know if I would say school hours, that you'd need to specify pickup and drop-off hours. I don't think I would put school hours in there.
You honestly want my opinion on this?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Yes.
I wouldn't vote on anything until it was resolved.
All right.
Let them sit down and resolve it, and then bring it back and say, here's what we agreed.
That's where I was going when he said he was willing to sit down with the commissioner and talk about routes and situations, and I'm
Because as I hear this today, we still got a safety issue there,
Yeah.
very much so.
So we defer it for 30 days, is that adequate?
starting place.
please come forward, Matt. I'm sorry.
Again, Matt Taylor from SEC. So I think that the final plat, the items that you're talking about were addressed during the preliminary plat approval and our construction plans. We have worked very closely with the highway department on this project to get our permits there. I don't think this is a matter for the final plat. Again, we are happy to sit down with Ms. Bowman and review the detour plan, but these are very separate items. The final plat is very much about confirming the preliminary plat and that the lots are in regulation to create the actual lots. We're not talking about construction items with the final plat. Those have been addressed. Again, if we've got some issues with hours of operation of what's going on Cedar Grove Road, again, we're happy to sit down with that. But those are separate items than what's before you today.
Okay.
And we do understand the concerns. We went over those at length 2-3 years ago, and I think we've done a good job administering those. Sound like there's some other parties working in the area that may be affecting this bridge more than we are. But again, we're always happy to sit down and discuss. But they are separate items, I believe. And I think we've taken the appropriate steps to get the permits that we're supposed to have to be doing the work that we are doing out there.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more technical question, not related to traffic, but it was mentioned early and we didn't expound on it. The split water services, and we have a water representative here. Are these delineated, or are these services mixed so that you can't go, it's their problem when you have a water issue for?
I don't think that would be the case at all. Is that fair to say, Chris? Go ahead. Please, you can address that.
Chris Luber, Executive Director, Water and Wastewater Authority, Wilson County. So we have an agreement between the Water and Wastewater Authority and the City of Lebanon. We have an established boundary for our drinking water service area and an established boundary for our wastewater service areas. That subdivision is 100% within our wastewater service area. The water service area, there's about 4 lots on Old Hunters Point Pike that are within the City of Lebanon's drinking water service area. So I cannot sign off the plat for those 4 lots. That's why it was noted that there would be 2 signatures on that plat. We're working with the developer on our side. I have no clue what's going on with the City of Lebanon and the developer on their side. We've been trying to negotiate an agreement to ask the City of Lebanon to cede those 4 lots to us. That was out on the table. We've had discussions with them for a couple years. The attorneys are involved, talking about it to see if they would cede it to us. We've had no communication back from the City of Lebanon that they're willing to cede the area. So those 4 lots are still the city of Lebanon. I can't go across our boundary to serve.
Understand.
So this is another point unresolved. I heard that correctly. It's not resolved yet, after 2 years of negotiation.
It's resolved. We have a water service boundary.
You do, but those 4 lots, you're not going to service in that.
We're not, but the city of Lebanon will. It's their service area. You know, when you draw a line, it goes through properties. And we were just trying to work with them to try to assist the developer to have water service from one utility provider.
Which is correct.
So right now, they have water service for those 4 lots would be coming from the city of Lebanon, not us.
So 2 different sources is what I asked from the beginning.
That's correct.
2 different providers,
Different
correct.
providers, yes, sir.
Yes.
As long as they don't swap hoses, I guess they're all right.
So Chris, is the church there served, your water served by the city, isn't it? In it V?
So we
Not these lots, you're saying. They don't have, it's in their service area, but they don't have the water in front of them, is that right?
I can't speak for the city of Lebanon. We have a water main down on Cedar Grove Road. And so we can provide water all the way up through that subdivision, that whole development. But we can't serve those 4 lots.
Well, do you service the school?
So we provide public sewer to Cower Oakland School. The drinking water is provided by the city of Lebanon.
There's water there? Okay. I understand. Okay. Thank you. Christopher, you have any more input? We need to,
Not
okay.
unless you have another question.
Okay, any other questions from our board? Do we have a motion?
I move we defer it for 30 days till we hear more concrete information in reference to this schedule of detours.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to defer for 30 days. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No. That motion will carry.
I didn't vote either.
Yeah.
Okay, how many?
I also had, I thought I heard Turner as the second, and then he voted no, so I'm confused here. Who seconded it?
I didn't second.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Renfro seconded it.
Okay.
That motion will carry 6-3. And will be on next month's agenda. And, Mr. Taylor, we would be thrilled if you would get with Ms. Bowman and Christopher and see if we can't get this ironed out in some kind of agreement to bring back next month. Thank you. Okay. We're ready for the preliminary for the Windermere Cove.
Yes, sir. This is a preliminary renewal for Windermere Cove. It's 348 Green Road with technical corrections. Add approved road names to plat. The sinkhole on Lot 35 is to be addressed through the final platting process. I've made the developer aware of my concerns with that lot. The original development was approved in September 16th of 2022. This is largely in the same as what you saw on the previous preliminary. The only thing that they have added is a phase line through here to split the development into 2 phases. Other than that, it is the same development that was before you September of 2022.
Okay. Who do we have here to represent this case today? Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Bill Charles, and I'm representing the development, Lux Development, and I also have my engineer here with me from CSDG, Luke Talley.
Okay. Does our board have any questions for the developer and their engineer?
Yes, sir. And for Chris as well, they probably already have this, they're chatting about this already. The sinkhole would be my only concern. Is it going to be left natural, or is there structural additions to keep that from increasing in dimension?
It's a good question, and we have been in contact with the county on this ever since our original approval. So we were here back in 2022, and we brought with us our geotechnical engineer, and the way we agreed with you then was that we would follow all rules and regulations regarding sinkhole remediation. So I think that's what you guys approved us on. That does not mean that when I get into the details of the engineering that we do what we leave it alone. So there is still that possibility that we'll leave the sinkhole as is. But I'd say as it stands right now, the intention on the table is for us to remediate it using whatever laws and regulations are at the time that we do that.
Chris, does that give you any pause?
No, I mean, I met with the geotechnical out on site 3 years ago that he was confident that he could fill it. I did express to him my concerns. I mean, regardless of whatever letter he has, I would be concerned if it was my lot. And I've made them aware that, I'd rather see that lot moved elsewhere and just left open. But if they got documentation to legally and cover it, then I don't know how I could not acknowledge that.
Requirements, we'll have them show it on the plat, whether it's reclosed or an injection well, whatever they do to it, it'll be shown permanently, and then we'll require the geotechnical support. to make sure that it's closed.
Thank you, sir.
When they get to the final plating process for this, I'll require further documentation on how they're going to address that lot specifically with this sinkhole,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
because it's a rather large one.
I've got a basic question. Where's Green Road? I know where Big Green Road is, but where's Green Road?
It's off of Bates.
Off Bates?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have any other questions for our developer? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else here today wishing to speak on this case? We have any further questions from our board?
Move approve.
I have a motion from Mr. Thompson to approve. Do we have a second? I have a second from Mr. Renfro. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you.
All right, the way this, the Boxwell thing was added, it was added to the end of the agenda, so I'm going to do you want me to do the plats of affirmation, or do you want me to put it in front of that?
Let's go ahead and get the plats done and be.
Okay. There are 5 plats for affirmation. The first one is the amendment to the 7 Springs subdivision, lot 17, for one lot located at 137 7 Springs Drive. The subdivision of the King's property, lot 1, subdivision into 2 lots, which is 2780 West Salisbury Road. The re-subdivision of Southwind Section 2, lot 60, and Southwind Section 5, lot 74. They're just rehashing a shared property line that is affecting 2 lots. Subdivision of the Jonathan Mark Gray and Anita Underwood Gray property into 2 lots at 9290 Highway 109 North, and the combination of Crosswind subdivision lots 106 and 107 into 1 lot. With technical correction, staff can recommend approval of all these.
Do we have anyone here wishing to speak on any of these cases today? Any questions from our board? Do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Turner to approve, with a second by Ms. Weathers. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion will carry, and we will now deal with the Camp Boxwell issue.
Yes, the last thing on your agenda that has been added is the Boxwell. This is the mess hall. I have went ahead and done a preliminary review of this because they had made me aware that they were going to request to be added to the agenda. I don't have any major concerns of this, as it's internal to the Boxwell Reservation. It meets all setbacks. They will have to go through a formal site plan approval with the Stormwater Department to meet minimum state TDEC and drainage concerns for the overall thing, and that'll happen before the site plan is stamped. But as far as getting it approved so they can start that process, I do not have an issue with that if you choose to do so.
Okay, thank you. You want to come forward and tell us what you're doing? You don't have to. You're welcome to.
Building a big dining hall for our facility out there, as our facilities are starting to get outdated. Building an $11.3 million dining hall. The promotion, not the promotion, but what I'm asking to do is if we can build a pavilion next to our dining hall to hold all our scouts to eat food during summer camp. The dining hall is not going to be ready. As we all know, construction takes their time, and we'll get there when we get there. So the idea was to feed everybody in a pavilion next to the dining hall that's currently being made, so we can have all the kids and families and scouts eating under cover and not being the weather. Instead of spending our money to do a tent, which was going to cost us about $80,000, we could put our money here and have something to show for it when we're finished and something to be there forever. That's what we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Could I ask you one question? In the run of a season, how many scouts will you run through that place?
Last year we had 2,000 Scouts BSA. That was graders from 11-year-old to 18-year-old. And then our Cub Scout program had 650. So roughly those numbers is just the youth. But we have about 10,000 people go through there a year at Monster Reservation. Through all over the nation. We've got Arizona coming this year, Florida, Indiana, Atlanta, Memphis, so on.
It's as far as the agency or the operation is concerned, it is one of their premier sites they use, I guess, nationwide.
This is a premier camp of the South, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'd love to take anybody out there, give you a tour. Let's hang out and see. I'd love showing it off. We've done a lot of improvements, and it's a great facility. It's a jewel of Wilson County that a lot of people don't know about, and I'd love to show it off anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Christopher, any motion here would certainly be contingent on staff recommendations and approval.
Yeah, and I would add into that motion, stormwater requirements just due because it's not, went through that technical review as it had not been submitted to them yet.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to speak on this case today? Yes, sir?
Josh Pettigo, owner of Next Generation Builders. I'm the one building the pavilion for scouting. And Chris, you've helped us along with this. I may be wrong at this point, but I think Stormwater has checked this out.
Okay.
And whatever needs to be done, I don't care to run over right after the meeting if we can communicate this, because like Mr. Flannery said, we are facing our timeline with summer camp and just needing to go somewhere for all the kids.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this case today?
Okay. Sorry, say that again.
Sir?
What'd you say?
I didn't say anything. I didn't know if you were going to relay what he said.
No.
Okay.
Oh, he said he does have it, it has been submitted. It's not got all the way through final approval, but it is in the process.
It's in your hands, though, James?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from our board? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve with staff recommendations and stormwater requirement contingency.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Renfro. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Thompson. Sorry, couldn't talk. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead.
Is that all you got?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I have two additional points of information. The first one is you're all aware that we're in the process of updating our land use plan. There is a workshop March 21st, which is the same day as your next planning commission. This workshop is from 9 to 9:50 a.m. before the planning commission meeting. It is for all of the planning commission members and the Board of Zoning Appeals members to come and look at the rough draft and offer their expertise on what needs to be amended. I will let you know this, you all will probably be seeing draft 2 or 3. When this is all said or done, it'll probably be at 5 or 6, but the Planning Commission and BOZA's opportunity to have their sole look at it without any interference will be March 21st at 9 a.m.
March 21st, 9 a.m. Where, here?
In this, well, I'll probably have it in the conference room so we don't have an overlap, but it'll be either in this room or the upstairs conference room.
We can't have overlap. We got to be in here at 10.
Well, right, I don't want to have the public.
What else you got, sir?
The second thing that I have, I need you all to consider, there will be a couple proposals that hopefully you may be able to offer a vote on in your March meeting, and that is, as you're aware, we revised our zoning ordinance to have A1 lots, a minimum of 80,000 square feet. The Planning and Zoning Committee has they want to put you all on, I guess, notice to think about in the interim from the March meeting, a middle ground from the 40,000 and the 80,000 square foot requirement, if you all are interested in maybe amending that portion of the zoning ordinance, not the entire use table, just the A1 district. And I'll have a couple rough draft proposals for you all to look at, and I'll try to get them to you in enough time to where you can look at with your agenda mail outs, so you can maybe make a opinion on that and forward it back to the Planning and Zoning Committee with your decision.
Why, Chris?
Why?
Why do they want to do that? What's the...
The intent of the original zoning resolution change was kind of to preserve and conserve farmland, and they felt now that it's been approved, it's caused the opposite. I mean, you have less lots, which is one of the goals, but the lots are just larger. So you're not preserving any of the farmland that they aim to preserve, you're just mowing more of it. And that's kind of one of the things, and it's also made it hard on the traditional long-standing farmers when they want to give off a lot to a family member. Now they have to give off almost 2 acres as opposed to a 40,000 square foot lot.
So is the intent, do I read the overall intent for our future is to become a more of an agrarian county going forward rather than development? Is that what I understand?
I would say the future intent is to become more of a conservationist county where they can conserve some of those areas. I don't want to say all of it is going to be conserved agricultural land. Some of it will be forest, but yes, agrarian would probably be a good term for that.
Chris, did you say the county commission has requested this?
Planning and Zoning Committee.
Zoning committee?
Mm-hmm. I just went.
Ordinance Committee.
This is something for you all to think about, and I'll have some proposals that I'll get to you before the next month's meeting, just so you can kind of mull over them. Well, I mean, you can make that proposal, or they asked for a middle ground, which would be somewhere in between the 40 and what is now required as the 80.
It was brought up in discussion last night, and it was my desire to go back to where we were, and the other members of the committee said, well, let's, compromise, and let's look for middle ground, and I don't know what really middle ground is, but they wanted to discuss it in the group, and that's kind of where we are. But my personal opinion, we need to get back to where we were for AFC, et cetera, so.
Christopher, we did not distinguish in A1 or R1 on a straight zoning, nothing to do with PUDs, whether they were being serviced by public sewer or septic. Is that correct?
Well, any sort of PUD.
No.
I mean,
outside of a PUD.
Okay. No, on straight zoning, there's no distinguishing.
Straight zoning, it didn't matter whether you were on sewer or you were on septic.
Correct. I mean, if you have a development that has good soils, you can put 100 lots on traditional septic systems.
So essentially, long-term, what this makes Wilson County is an island in a sea of massive development in Middle Tennessee. Massive development. It makes us an island. If that's what we want to be, that's what we are. Let's all get rich making boat docks.
Franklin's already done the island, sir.
I mean, what they're proposing is to reduce the lot size back down closer to where we were before.
It's still, yes, it is. It's still significantly bigger. It still fosters the island concept, I'm saying.
Nothing wrong with being an island, in my opinion.
I don't like between 20 feet between houses like we're seeing. I don't like that. But I think we've got to be extremely careful.
Well, the 20 feet is still part of our zoning ordinance. I've not been asked to look into that particular facet of our zoning ordinance. That would still be allowed under any regulation at current unless it's in a PUD.
Okay. You have anything else, sir?
No, I'm done.
Okay. I am going to adjourn the meeting. We do have a group of, I'm sorry.
I got one thing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hutto, I'm sorry.
Just as informed, I know many of you know that the former mayor, Don Fox, just passed away, and just to let you know that, to remember them in your prayers, and ask to pass that along.
I know that. Thank you. Okay, anything else, sir? Okay, we will stand adjourned. We do have a group of students here with the Wilson County FFA who, if I understand it, made the nationals to state to compete, and anybody who has time to stick around, they would like to practice on us, for lack of a better term. At this time, Mr. McDonald's here with his students, and I'll turn the floor over to him.
Thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Benny McDonald. I'm one of the agriculture teachers at Wilson Central High School. I know many of you. You know, I've ran from some of you, but no, just it's all right. He's ran from me too, so we're all good. Anyway, in the FFA, we do lots of different competitions. We do about 85 different contests a year, and most of these kids that are up here right now were on my parliamentary procedure team. A while ago, one of them said, "Can we show them how it's supposed to be done?" I said no. I said no. That's okay. But back in November, they competed at the regional championships in Parley, and they were third, and the top 2 teams got to move on. So they didn't get to move on, so they came up to me and said, "Mr. McDonald, we want a chance to go compete at state in something. What can we do?" I said, "Well, we need I said, we can put together an Ag Issues team if you'd like to." An Ag Issues team, what they do, they choose an issue facing agriculture, and then what they do, they have to show the pros and the cons of that issue. They're not allowed as a final say in their demonstration to take a side. Okay, they have to show the pros and cons. And they can present that any way they want to. They can do a skit, they can do a PowerPoint, they can do whatever they want to. It's one of my favorite contests because they don't even have to wear their official dress. In fact, when they go compete, they won't wear their official dress. They'll dress up like you, to be honest with you, because you're getting ready to find out because you're going to listen to them, and some of you are going to smile here in just a second. But anyway, what I will tell you is that Mr. McDonald doesn't spoon feed his kids. You know, I become a facilitator instead of a teacher sometimes, because if you're always doing the work for the kids, they're not learning how to prepare. So what you see today is from their research, it's from their skit writing, it's from them, and Mr. McDonald just tweaks it. Now, the other day when we went to the regional contest, we got second. I don't like second. They don't like second. But you know what? We still get the top 2 gets to move on. And the judges told us what was wrong with our presentation and what we need to fix. And we're working on that. But we didn't have time to make those changes today because we were asked to come today. So we just competed last week. So we do have to make some changes to our skit. What I ask from you today, if you've got any questions at the end of it, please feel free to ask. If you've got comments that are wrong, you think that some of the things they're saying are wrong, because you're getting ready to see why we're presenting to you. I'm going to let them pull the hat out of the bag here and just say, the cat, was it cat or hat? Well, I can't remember. Hey, don't laugh at me. But anyway, is there anything else I need to say before you go?
I don't think so.
You good? You won't get to sit down today. Just step forward when you need to speak. Thank you for taking time to listen to my kids today.
Thank you.
I'm going to kind of be going around taking pictures of this. Oh, one other thing. If you like the presentation or the kids, we need a couple thank you letters signed. So if you could, my email address is McDonald, McDonaldB, McDonaldB78@gmail.com. It comes through my personal email better than it does the school email because they think we're protecting nuclear codes. But McDonaldB78@gmail.com. If you have time to write a letter and scan it and send it to me so they can put it in their new portfolio, because we have to turn in a new portfolio for the state championship, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hello.
We are the Wilson Central FFA Agriculture Issues Team, and we'd like to thank you for having us here today. Our issues topic is, how does the industrialization of farmland affect agriculture? In 2024, Hillwood, a company out of Texas, purchased 1,400 acres of farmland in Wilson County, Tennessee. Hillwood proposed to build an industrial park on the plot of land. Today, we will show you the pros and cons of this issue. Presenting the pros of this issue will be Jordan Davis, representing litigation for Hillwood, along with Caitlin Cockrum, representing business owners of Wilson County, Tennessee. Presenting the cons of this issue will be Piper Allen, representing Wilson County farmers, along with Elise Ingram, representing litigation for farmers of Wilson County. This presentation is set in the Wilson County Commissioners meeting. My name is Tyler Dobson. I will be the presiding chairman of this meeting. Without further ado, we present to you our issue. How does the industrialization of farmland affect agriculture? This meeting of the Wilson County Commission will come to order. We have a lot on our agenda this evening, and we need to get started. Electronic roll has been taken, and all commissioners are present. The first item on the agenda is the proposed 1,400-acre industrial park to be built by the Texas company Hillwood, owned by the Perot family. The Planning Committee met in October and voted in opposition by a vote of 6-2. Hillwood applied for an appeal to the entire county commission. First, we will hear from Jordan Davis, representing litigation for Hillwood.
I would first like to say that our company's intention is to benefit not only our business, but the financial well-being of this community. As you all know, it is our goal to implement an industrial park, bring jobs to the area, and to help sustain the local economy. These jobs could serve as a major cornerstone and help support growth within the community, which is our ultimate goal.
Thank you. The opposing side now has the floor.
Committee members, I could not in good standing support this proposal. The jobs and economic boost this company is claiming to implement will not begin to benefit anyone until construction is complete and close to 20 years down the line. And the damage it will do to the infrastructure of the area far outweighs the benefits they claim it will provide.
As a representative for Hillwood, our interest is in what's best for this community and growing this area efficiently into its fullest potential. So please keep in mind that this land was originally designated for high-density residential, meaning that if the proposal for the industrial park is denied, the land has the potential to be used for large-scale subdivisions, increasing the population, traffic, and stretching the area's infrastructure far beyond anything the industrial park would do. In the years between 2021 and 2022, Wilson County's population increased 4.3%. Our proposal bears the brunt of the price that is already facing this rapidly growing community.
Personally, as a member of the community who will deal with the real-time consequences of this decision, I'd rather see houses in my backyard than a massive industrial park. The proposal of Hillwood will be far more detrimental to our surroundings and damage the environment in irreversible ways. My family has been in this area for generations, and I simply cannot stand behind destroying what we call home. This is immoral and inconsiderate. As a farmer myself, I cannot bear to see such a beautiful piece of land with so much potential go to waste simply by the desire of money.
Hillwood recognizes these concerns and have made several compromises in an attempt to preserve the surrounding environment. We have agreed to donate 25% of the land, almost 350 acres, to forestry research and have collaborated with local colleges.
Ms. Davis, could you please elaborate on that statement?
Yes, we plan on allowing MTSU, Cumberland University, and local FFA chapters to use the land for forestry and agriculture research. In response to this donation, these colleges have sent letters in support of our project.
Thank you. And Ms. Ingram, your response?
This is not a genuine effort at compromise. The land they have proposed to these universities is practically unusable. This land is considered Class 7 land, meaning the soils have severe limitations, making them unsuitable for cultivation. This renders the land practically useless. These colleges could simply come in and ask permission to use the land in full, and this doesn't require building a large cluster of buildings. These buildings will have a great impact on the ecosystem and the wildlife. This is a very weak attempt at compromise with an overall goal to make Hillwood look better.
This proves they have no vested interest in the well-being of our community, our people, or the overall deep effect this will have on the area we love. This is cold, hard proof. They only care about the money they will make off this land, and they don't care who or what will have to pay for it.
Hillwood sees potential in Wilson County, as it is the third fastest growing county in the state as of 2024. Whether the residents are in favor of it or not, the area is going to continue growing at a rapid rate. The smartest option is to begin preparing for the influx now by having our company foot the cost of the infrastructure that will be necessary 10 years down the road. This land has sat vacant for years, and the likelihood of it ever being used for agricultural purposes again is slim to none.
Commissioners, let me be clear. The problem is not development. The core problem is that we do not want a company coming in and building an industrial park, let alone an out-of-state company. We see that Wilson County is a growing area, and we are in full support of that. But for the residents of this area, Hillwood is nothing more than a company coming in to make a profit off of our local businesses.
Hillwood recognizes these concerns, but I disagree with you, Ms. Ingram. Part of our success can be attributed to the openness of the communities that we develop, and they have voiced similar concerns to ones that you have stated this evening. However, after our plans have been carried out, they have come to see just how beneficial Hillwood's involvement is. We understand that there are questions that may come up in a situation like this, but our interest in Wilson County comes from the natural beauty of the area. We do not wish to uproot this community, but simply prepare it for the inevitable growth coming its way.
I cannot support this. The damage it will do to the infrastructure far outweighs the benefits they claim to provide. This will greatly affect our day-to-day lives by altering the roads, causing an increase in traffic that the roads simply cannot support. Potential for flooding and the overall environmental impact this will have on the area are all large-scale concerns and that your company has been unable to resolve. We are not asking to compromise. We are simply saying no.
Ms. Ingram, with all due respect, why is agriculture at the forefront of this conversation when the land in question hasn't been zoned for agricultural use since before 2008?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, although this land has not been zoned for agricultural use since before 2008, this is a large plot of land, and changing it can negatively affect many agricultural aspects of the surrounding area. Loss of biodiversity, soil erosion, and pollution are all large issues, and our side is justifiably concerned about the well-being of our residents.
Ms. Ingram, with all due respect, if you will look into our history, you will see that our successes greatly outweigh our failings. We are a nationally renowned company and have received awards for how successful our developments have been for areas around the country.
You are all missing the point here. We are not here to attack the character of this corporation. We are simply here to protect our homes and do what works best for the large majority. We have stated time and time again what we want. Commissioners, I urge you to side with people this truly affects, not the unreliable, out-of-state developers.
Committee members, once again, Hillwood sees potential in this area in an attempt to prevent urban reform and give Wilson County the best chance it has to flourish. In the 19th century, the urban reform movement was the direct response to the formation of a new type of poverty. Urban reform focused on improving the living and working conditions of the newly created urban poor. This group had formed with the need of cheap labor for industrialization. And I realize that this topic seems far behind us as a society today, but nonetheless, this issue is completely applicable to Wilson County, Tennessee. With this, we see how urbanization without expansion can be extremely harmful, creating crime and higher unemployment rates. Hillwood hopes to prevent this in the beautiful community that is Wilson County.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we shall now proceed to vote. All in favor of the land zoning amendment submitted by Hillwood to rezone the 1,400 acres of land between Linwood, Bluebird, and Bobo Road, please signify by saying aye.
Overall, Hillwood has no real interest in supporting our community. The state of Tennessee loses approximately 60,000 acres of land annually to project development. This number is just going to continue to grow. We need to protect as much land as we can while we still can and support local farmers in their ultimate goal of growing agriculture in the communities they live in.
Once more, as a member of the community and a generational farmer, we need to say no to industrial parks and protect the area we love.
Industrial parks all around the country serve as essential additions to the economic development of stunted areas. Lowering property taxes, providing job opportunities are undeniable benefits they provide. Partnerships between cities and counties have fostered close to 40 successful industrial parks across the state of Tennessee. As a result, these areas have seen a massive growth in their economic development and community outreach. Showing support for parks such as these is ultimately an investment in the future of your area.
With the concern of citizens from all over Wilson County, few see the benefits that large companies like Hillwood can provide to developing cities, as well as preparing an already developing county for further growth. With Wilson County's strong roots within farming and agriculture, it is important to carry this legacy on while introducing new technology to advance it. Learning how to evolve agriculture so it can coexist alongside these new industrial developments can only further the progress in the agricultural field.
We would all like to thank you once more for this opportunity you've given us to come here and speak today. We appreciate your overall commitment to understanding the issues that occur within today's agricultural field and are thankful for the time you've dedicated to listen to us. We will now answer any questions that you all may have.
Mayor, can you appoint them to be on the commission?
Yeah.
I'd like to give a big hand.
I will say y'all covered both sides of that very well. In about 15 minutes, between here and the county commission took about 8.
Yeah, 8.
So I'm very, and you covered the issues.
Let me make a comment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jewell.
I appreciate this. I appreciate this, and it as a good light on both sides of this issue. You've really brought it out to light. I was one of the votes that voted for this. This lady right over here was one.
Don't own it, you can't
And
control it.
not to downgrade what you've done, I would vote the same again today.
Yeah.
I would vote the same again today. I think the unbelievable, that is truly the best project. I'm an old guy, I'm 80 years old, okay? If you guys want to help me to the car, I'd appreciate it. But that is the best project, the best company, and the best location that I have seen in 30 years. 30 years. And my feeling is it being there and controlling it with the new land use plan, and my thinking on some of that protects our farmland rather than it does away with it. But this is a good job, and your teacher is to be commended to bringing citizen kids into the real world, into really getting into this. You could do this on so many issues. You did an excellent job.
You nailed it.
And I truly
We appreciate that very much, sir.